Have you ever seen a work made for hire contract? Well, it's actually work made for fired. Welcome to White House Studios and my photography business channel. My name is Rosh, and this channel is all about supporting you with your photography business. And our mission together is to make a stronger photography industry. So if that interests you, be sure to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon so you're notified when I go live. Have you ever seen or signed a work made for hire contract? You may not even know that you've done so. However, chances are, if the client sent you the contract, it very well could be a work made for hire, which is not necessarily good news for you. This is all about your copyright, being in control of your photographs, and the opportunity to make more money from your photographs. A work made for hire contract is about this. If a work is made for hire, the employer or other person for whom the work was prepared is the initial owner of the copyright, unless both parties involved have signed a written agreement to the contrary. Hey, if this topic interests you, I have another video at the end of this video on copyright. So here's the deal. When you press the shutter button, you are the proud owner of a copyrighted image. Whether you want it or not, it's the law. You own it. Unless you have an employer. You are under the control of someone else. They pay your weekly, monthly salary. They pay for a 401k and healthcare. They dictate what you do each day and how your work is going to be used. You're an employee. And in those cases, you're more of a representative of the overall company, organization, or person. And so in that case, the authorship of your photographs goes to your employer. So what's wrong with that? Absolutely nothing. If you're an employee of a company, they have the right to claim authorship. However, if you're a freelance professional or a contractor, the story is much different. When you're an employee, they pay for the 401k and the healthcare and the days off. But when you're a freelancer or contractor, that is just not the case. You pay for everything. You have lots of expenses. So owning the copyright to your images allows you the opportunity to make more money from your images down the road. However, there is a tactic which individuals and corporations, organizations use, which prevent you from even showing your work without their permission. And it certainly will not allow you to make more money. And it's because they have offered you a work made for hire contract, which means you are temporarily hired. Hooray! And you photograph, get the job done, deliver the images, and then you're fired. You're fired. And yes, they have legal right to say you can't even use those photographs in your portfolio or on your website. Oh, don't worry, you can snatch that image up again down the road about 95 years after publication or 120 years after creation. Is there ever really a good reason to sign a work made for hire contract? Well, the bottom line is you need to pick your battles. And there are times where I will sign them, and there are certainly many times I have not and refused. And actually, there's a little trick I want to share with you in a few moments. But when have I signed these contracts? Usually it's when somebody is offering me an opportunity that justifies and actually, in my opinion, pays for that copyright. It may be a very large project or a regular project. In other words, I'm receiving opportunities to photograph month after month after month. Or maybe I'm part of a larger project that is ongoing. There are many situations, such as in the movies, you're just going to have to sign it, especially if it's a big collaborative project. The people in charge will probably want you to sign a work made for hire contract. There are many reasons to sign it, and there are many, many reasons not to. In most cases, I turn work made for hire contracts down because these same people want to give me a little bit of money and take all of my rights. As I mentioned before, if they're going to give me a lot of money, I'm willing to sell them my rights in some cases. In some cases I will not, especially if I feel that the value of those photographs down the road are worth much more than they're offering, even if it is a lot of money. But quite often, and honestly in most cases, it's a situation where they're not offering you a lot and many times not treating you very well, but want all of your rights. And in those cases, I certainly turn them down. There certainly have been times where I'm reading through a contract and noticed a work made for hire clause. And I will go back to my contact and say, hey, I just don't sign contracts like this. Could we take this paragraph out, or line item the work made for hire section? And guess what? It's amazing how many times they say, hey, no problem. Because it's very common for companies to have a basic boilerplate contract that they just give out to everyone. And the details aren't of that much interest other than having something in writing. So you can negotiate the whole concept of work made for hire, and it starts with having that initial conversation. You can always negotiate. And yes, there are times in which you may feel that you're never going to be able to resell the photographs that you're creating. However, you have signed a work made for hire contract, or they're offering you one. You can always say, could you put in the contract that I'm able to use these images for my portfolio? So this way, at least you can get some benefit from the great images that you're creating. The works made for hire clause in contracts is probably the #1 reason photographers need to read the contracts submitted to them for their signature. Let's be honest, there are many reasons why customers and clients may want creatives to sign work made for hire contracts. It's because they've been burned in the past by other creatives. So my recommendation to you is to figure out what is that stumbling block. What is it that makes them want you to sign this work made for hire contract? And as I often say, you can ask anything, you can negotiate anything, and you'll be surprised of what they might say in response. That's why I often tell photographers to dig deep and ask questions. Maybe there's a specific reason why they want creatives to sign a work made for hire contract. And it could be a reason that's easily solved without giving them your copyright. Maybe they want full control of the image for a full year, 2 years, or 5 years. They don't want anybody else to use the image. Maybe they've been burned in the past and they want to make sure they have the first right to use or publish that image. And this is the way they go about fixing that problem. If you understand why they want to make sure they have that control and that maybe they do not need that control in the future, you can develop a contract that is a win-win for both of you. So keep in mind, it's not works made for hire, it's works made for fired. Hey, I'll see you in the next video about copyright.